Well, everyone. Been a while, isn't it? Been a good while, and that was a good point, a great point, a really good performance. Really happy, really proud of them. We're all going to go into it in a minute. As you know, the start was very different to the end, but yeah, really happy. And I did tell you guys in the morning show this morning that I think I've accepted the fact that Moyes is going to stay, and I think that cloud has lifted over my head. And what I'm looking forward to do now is just look at each game as it comes on its own merits, and let's discuss those like we're going to do in this show, in terms of the player performances, the tactics during the game, and sort of see what the opposition were up to and see how we feel. But it's really good. And to be fair, like David Moyes said before the game in his interview, it's been a good couple of results. Victory at Everton, victory obviously over Derby, draw today, and really good. And we mustn't really get away from the fact that Newcastle United are the form team in the country alongside Arsenal and City, and it's away and their ground was rocking, and you can see that they had a lot of confidence the way they were passing the ball around. They had Callum Wilson in their team, who scored his 10th goal in 12 games. So everything was stacked up against our team, and we had obviously a couple of strikers not quite fit. So Antonio's up front, and we had to play Kehrer in there and one or two other things. But listen, really happy, really proud of everyone. I got a reasonably large smile on my face, and I'm happy. But it's been a while. And football's a funny business, and the way the game started, you were fearing the worst, really. So let's see who's in the chat. So Paul, how you doing? Hope you're well, Paul. Good point. Certainly is, Paul. And to be fair, with a bit of a better finishing, I mean, we obviously will go into relatively more detail about certain incidents during the game, but what we can say is that with a bit more confidence in front of goal, a bit more if you're a bit more cooler in front of goal, took your time, we could have got that killer goal, I think. But a lot of things to discuss, including man of the match, Agard, is it? Top of my head. That guy we're going to have to wrap him up in wool and make sure no other club is looking at him, because Agard is looking like a very good signing. He just, every game he's improving. He's stylish, but at the same time he's good. He's a good defender, and he saved us a number of times, and long may that carry on, really. So definitely, Paul, definitely agree with you, mate. George, I'll tell you what, I mean, I walked away a couple of minutes to go and kept walking in and out the room, but and to be fair, I'm always going to be honest. I was still expecting Newcastle to get the winner. I can't lie from you guys. It's just the way it is with these teams who are in form. You think sooner or later Callum Wilson's going to get that second goal, and I bet you guys in the chat were more or less the same as well. But thank God for that. And it's a very valuable point, especially when you look at a lot of the results today. I mean, Sean Dyche, what an announcement, in his first game for Everton. Great victory over Arsenal. And obviously Wolves, great victory over Liverpool with our very own Dawson scoring a goal and a man of the match performance from him. So good luck to him. But yeah, we had to get a point, the minimum, really, especially with Chelsea Spurs coming up. And looking very tight at the bottom, which we'll go into a bit more. But as it stands at the moment, everyone, we are fifth from bottom. 1 point above Leeds and Everton. Leeds have got 2 games in hand. So, again, very tight. But, the longer it carries on in terms of being unbeaten, then slowly but surely performances are getting better. And like I said in my morning show, it was the formation I thought would work with our personnel in terms of replicating the formation we had against Everton. 3 central defenders, wing backs, 2 in the middle, and then 2 behind Antonio, and I think that'll work. I know some of my mates and WhatsApp groups felt that was a bit negative, because it looks like, which is true, you've got 5 defenders and 2 kind of CDMs in front of them, so 7-8 defenders, but we don't really have the fullbacks to play a back 4, and perhaps rightly so, being away at Newcastle, he didn't want to risk that, but I think this is okay. I understand Kehrer's going to get a lot of stick, and I'm not happy with his performance either. Apparently, they're saying that he got taken off half-time because of an injury. I think it's because he was quite poor and struggling. And I am fearing for his future now, Kera. I think I don't know what the future he's got now. Every game he comes, he's obviously whichever goal we concede, he's in the middle of it, and we go into a bit more detail about that once hopefully one or two of our channel guys join me. But Kera, for me, his last chances were going to be in that position, that one, or as a wing back, and it's just not happening for him. And I fear it's not good, mate. It's not good. So George was nervous. Ryan has come in. Ryan, hope you're doing well, mate. Good lad, Ryan. Quickly have a shower and get on, my son. It was, George. I mean, and especially watching the Everton game, Sean Dyche, we heard what he done with the players. He did that bleep test with Everton. The ones who failed, they were told in so many words to sort it out, that this is the way we're going to play. And yeah, form comes and goes, but what shouldn't come and go is effort and teamwork, camaraderie, being a bit like the army. That should always be there, which is Sean Dyche is going to bring that to Everton. And I think in our predicament, we're not in form, we're not slick, we need a lot of improvement, but the least you can do is make an effort, which I know we didn't quite wake up in the first 3, 4, 5 minutes of the game, and that is worrying. That has happened this season under David Moyes a lot. We have conceded early goals quite a lot, and that's worrying when you've just left the dressing room. Hopefully there's been a motivational speech from the captain or a few words from the coaches and the manager, and we're just in third, fourth gear, when we go out onto the pitch, and Newcastle could have been 2-0 up. They were much smarter in their mind, much more confident, much quicker to the second ball, shall I say, and it could have cost us. So we need to sort that out. But I think what else is important is just for this season, in terms of hopefully make sure we don't go down, is don't chop and change the team too much. I think that's not going to help. So I'm happy that Emerson is kind of playing his third, fourth game in a row. That's kind of good, and he's been kind of okay. And I think that's going to help. At this stage of the season, we don't want to change the team too much, I think, especially at the back, which has happened all the time. And I know some of it's been forced because of the injuries. And I think that's what we've got to do. It's not the time to experiment with formations. I think it's too important at this stage of the season. What's more important is the group remember what they were like 2 years ago, when they were saying the changing room is amazing to be at. The teamwork is good. Just need to replicate that. Like today, it was teamwork. They stuck together, and 1-0 down. To be fair, they could have easily got nervous, and we could have totally sort of broken up and lost 2-3, 4-0, whatever. But they didn't. They kept sort of their shape and looking for the opportunities to break away and things like that, really. So before we go into it, let's go through all the chat before I really get behind it. I tell you what, Steve, you got it bang on, and you normally do, and I did say that on the show, mate. So you done very well. Steve predicted 1-1, and I think you predicted the Everton win as well, and it might even have been 2-0, mate. And I predicted 2 defeats, so not doing very well. But at the same time, I am being honest and saying that it's good. I'm really, really happy what I'm seeing. Slowly, but the hard work's going to carry on. This is just the start. You look at the fixtures, you look at the tables, you look at the teams around us all winning. We're going to have to play like this throughout till the end of the season to kind of hopefully not be at the bottom any longer, really. So well done to you, Steve. Yeah, we could have won if we had a striker, shall I say, up front, shall I? My little dig. If we had a proper striker up front, or Agard had a few chances, didn't he? But let me go through the chat, and hopefully by then we'll hopefully have 1 or 2 more people with me, and then we'll kind of dissect the game in a bit more detail, really. So Irons Analysis is there. Yeah, but let's not be greedy, Irons Analysis. We would have all taken a point. We would have all taken a point before the game started. So listen, let's just grab it, and you can tell how important that point is, because we were kind of joint bottom third, and this. It's not by much, but it just makes us a point. And you never know, at the end of the season, when you look at a table, it's usually a few goals here and there and a few points here and there, that the difference between qualification for European places, Champions League or relegation. So you never know how valuable this point might be for us, mate, at the end of the season. And more importantly than that, how this display could up our confidence a notch for the next game. You know, it's all about confidence, and it is the third game unbeaten. I know we're not talking huge numbers, but for us, it's one little step at a time. You know, that's all we can hope for, really. And the other issue, obviously, is fingers crossed we don't get any more injuries, because I think Bowen was struggling a bit. Rice was some issue with his back, I think, through parts of the game. So good to see Danny Ings on the bench anyway. Be careful, Steve, because the first goal was due to partially Paqueta losing the ball in the middle, my man. But we'll go into that in a minute. Let's go through. Steve's on the roll now. We'll beat Chelsea 2-1. I like it, mate. I like it. Yeah, what I'm thinking, Steve, is that the bottom two do look more or less down, don't they, mate? And it's about that last team to go down, isn't it? So it is very tight between Everton, Leeds, West Ham, Wolves, and could go down to the wire, mate. Massive point. Bob, hope you're doing well, mate. So let me just check if anyone's going to join me or when they're going to join me. Otherwise, I am going to get into the game. Let's have a look. Okay, so I think it was probably 45 seconds, I think, when Newcastle got the goal. And what you can tell straight away is Emerson was it went underneath Emerson's legs, and when the cross came in, there was no one really picking up the kind of guy, and it's one of those things where the goalkeeper was hardly in place to stop it either. So it's all about not being sort of bright, aware, and you've got to defend as a team together. You know, if one defender is out of place or doesn't quite pick up his marker, then I think some of the midfielders or the other centre halves have got to be in the right position to block it. So this was a simple case of a couple of players completely switched off, you know. So the ball goes between Emerson's legs, and it's a great finish. I don't know if Fabianski could have done much about that. But then, shockingly, again, you switched off again for the second goal. Paqueta lost it to Joe Linton, I think, in the middle. And Callum Wilson, being Callum Wilson, one of my favourite strikers, proper striker, confidence through the roof against West Ham. He signals with his hand to Joe Linton that I'm ready, just give it to me. I'm in between Oggy and Emerson. I think it was at that stage, and once he's got it, he's got the pace to kind of get into the right place, and what a great finish straight from Fabianski, 1-0. And I think at that stage we feared the worst, because Newcastle were just coming at you, and we didn't really know what's going to happen. And I can imagine the meltdown in all the WhatsApp groups everywhere. But kind of that was that. Oggy and Kehrer should have done a bit better. And like I said, keep conceding early is one of my notes as well. 27 minutes, Benrahma had a reasonably good chance. He kind of hit it over the bar. And that is an issue with Fornals, with Benrahma. Just got to be a bit more cool in front of goal, you know. And instead they kind of snatch at their shots, and it went well over the bar for him. And I think Benrahma had one other good shot, I think, as well, a bit later on in the game. 1-1, 32 minutes. Paqueta at the far post, good shot, kept his calm, sort of slotted it in. Rice corner. I don't know if that's a new thing we're going to see more and more of, Rice taking corners, but very surprising, because they were saying a stat something like this was Newcastle's first goal conceded in 6-7 games, something like that. And it was a bit of a messy goal. The corner came in and it went through like 6-7 bodies, and Paqueta was there towards the end to slot it home calmly, really. And that kind of was 1-1. 45 minutes is that Agard miss, everyone. It's a bad miss. It's a Kufal cross, and Agard, no one really marking him. He had a lot of time. And again, it's all about being calm and not to put too much pace into it. Just guide it into the net, and it would have been 2. But he kind of got it on the wrong end of his head, and it flew well over the bar. And I think more than anyone, he knew himself that should have sort of made it 2-1 to us, really. So let's go back to the chat, see what's going on. We got Jerry's in there. Oh, I don't know. Is he injured again, mate? He's that good, bees, knees and Ben, that we're going to have to watch out for other clubs keeping an eye on him, mate. He's that good. I think we're going to struggle to hold him to him for at least a season or more. I know he's under contract, but I just think he's you can see it. There's not many players like that around, and I think obviously Morocco are making a name for themselves in the world of football, as we saw in the World Cup, and he's important for them. And like I'll mention, second half, there is an incident that I know what you guys are on about, that kind of world-class tackle he does on Wilson, isn't it? And we'll go into it in a minute. Richie's in there. What it is, Richie, what we're going to do is I think everyone knows our opinion on David Moyes, but we'll kind of put it to the back burner for now. Let's enjoy the point. Let's kind of, say well done to the lads out there. They kind of really good result, very difficult ground, and not many people have got points against Newcastle, and it's a really good result, especially because Wolves beat Liverpool, Everton beat Arsenal, so we've got to do it, and our point is really, really good, especially with the games coming up. So what we'll do, Richie, is like you said, it's going to bring confidence slowly but surely to the team. 3 games unbeaten, and hopefully we tick along with the same group of players, not too many changes, keep roughly the same formation, because I think it suits us. I don't think a flat back four suits us. I think this is okay, and obviously if Zuma was at the back, it would have been even better, because you can see we are missing that third really good centre half, and I've got a feeling Kehrer, this is it for him so early. I think he's going to struggle now. I think coming off at half-time, whether it was an injury or not, I think this is the end for Kehrer for now. I don't know if they're going to get rid of him on loan. I don't know who would buy him. I think it's it, mate. I can't see anything in him. And Johnson came on, and hopefully Johnson will get a run of games, because he's been struggling as well. But he can play on that right side of the 3 centre-halves, Johnson. And again, he's not one of those who's been on his game. So again, it suits everyone, because the wing backs are okay, but even if they get into trouble, you're hoping one of the 3 centre backs will mop up behind them. Similarly to Johnson, if he loses his marker, you're hoping Agard or Oggy will get in there and help him. It's about that. I don't like the system long term, but for now, for the situation we're in with the personnel of players that we've got and whoever's fit, I think it suits us. I think it's all right. And it's all about sticking to it now. Do a bit more on the training field. Confidence goes up. Get a bit more players back fit. And take it from there, really. Well, David Moyes did mention that. We looked on my morning show, wasn't it? That he wanted 10 goals, 10 assists from him. I don't think he's going to get anywhere near that. But you mustn't forget, it's a good goal. Want a bit more of that. Certainly, what I was saying again in the morning show is it's all good sticking 7-8 players behind the ball, but you got to go for the goal. You got to score. You can't just sit back. And maybe that early goal helped West Ham or David Moyes to say, come on, we got to go for that goal now. The longer it would have stayed 0-0, I don't know if we would have just sat back throughout the game, but yeah, we got to start better on the front foot, and yeah, you can defend, certainly away from sort of goal. You got to defend more often than not, but you got to attack as a team. Yeah, you defend as a team, but when you attack, you got to attack as a team, which means get 3-4 bodies up there. So the wingers, the wing backs, your creative players have got a target out there, and I was thinking hopefully Ings gets more and more fit. He can start a game, and I don't want Ings playing by himself. So we're going to have to think how to put Ings into that formation, because in that formation it's 1 up front, unless we do put 2 up front. But then what, you're going to drop Benrahma or Bowen behind? I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? Very, very interesting, that issue is. We'll probably look at that in another show, but Ings has to be one as part of 2 strikers up front. And so that, I want this formation. So I want the 3 centre backs. I want the 2 wing backs. I want Paqueta Rice in the middle. The 3 after that, there's got to be 2 strikers. So I think Benrahma, Bowen got to drop out. It could be Benrahma, I don't know. So it could be Bowen behind Danny Ings and Scamacca, or behind Antonio and Ings. We've got to think something like that. Danny Ings up front by himself, it's not going to work. And Danny Ings on the wing, that's not good either. Unless you drop Benrahma for Ings, and then it's going to be Ings, Bowen behind Scamacca or something. I don't know, but I'd rather have 2 up front. But again, let me know in the chat what you guys think. Again, yeah, why not? It's very early days yet, very early days. Only played literally single-digit games for us, I think. So sometimes being captain, Steve, can affect a player's game. So we want to think about this. I'd rather have someone a bit older, mate. In the summer, get a 28, 20-year-old, 29-year-old, a bit like a James Milner type of character, but a bit younger. Someone who's been at a good, classy top club and through a number of games and years and been in positions of relegation and winning things and kind of, Nolan was perfect for us, wasn't he? Under Big Sam, when Nolan came in, natural captain, lifted everyone, got respect and got us promoted. So scouts have got to do it. You've got to start looking right now for that kind of captain leader. But Agard, I'll kind of leave him alone for now. I think it's a bit too much putting that on him at the moment. I think so, Ben. I was saying that during the game, mate. I'm not being nasty. What I see, I don't think we can afford to have a player like that on the bench because I think we're going to get some money for him and recycle the cash. And just not for me, week in, week out. I don't think he can probably do it for us, mate. But that's for everyone else. That's me saying evening to myself. Let's start from the back. Yeah, and Beasley's maybe going 1-0 behind, and I think the results earlier on today, I think that probably put a lot of pressure on the team and David Moyes as well. I think that helped us to really go for this point or more. So going down early and looking at the Wolves result, looking at the Everton result, we had to get something out of this game, didn't we, everyone? So that's kind of good. And I know Bruno Guimaraes was suspended. The other striker, what's his name? Issa something, isn't it? He was out, concussion. So maybe a good time to play them. They're in the final of the League Cup. Sometimes players don't want to get injured, but I don't think Newcastle like that. They did give it a full throttle. And I was mentioning earlier that Eddie Howe's got a great record against West Ham. More wins often than not. And very, very clever manager. He's there with his notepad trying to work things out. And you could see their strength on the bench, Gordon coming on and things like that. It's like that Chelsea squad yesterday. Every player's going to be like, 30, 40, 50, 60 million. I think they spent 200 million already for Eddie Howe, and they're ready to go in for every single player from now on. Could win the league in a couple of seasons, I don't know. But for us, listen, we're still far from the final product or anywhere near being slick, but one step at a time. We have struggled for long periods, but last 3 games done well, and let's kind of carry on. And if we get something at the Chelsea game, Tottenham game, that'll be completely, the fans will be over the moon. The confidence around the training ground, the club, it'll be a lot different. And obviously, we are only 1 point ahead of Everton, but if we keep at it and maybe get a margin of 3 points, just to begin with from that relegation place, and with our good goal difference, that could help as well, really. So one step at a time, isn't it, Mr. Carter? Actually, let's go into it now. So literally second half, Kehrer for me. Let me know in the chat, do you think that's the end for Kehrer? I think it's the end for him. I know it's early, but having so many mistakes for so many goals in his first season and not looking very, very clever in the first half, that could be it, I think. The other thing I was on about was the Joe Linton dive, 57 minutes, the yellow card. Agard was kind of marking him, and that was bad, wasn't it? Let me know in the chat if you think that should be a red from now on for those kind of incidents. It was a blatant dive, millions of miles away from Agard putting any challenge on him, and he tried to do it again, but obviously not as harsh as that first time. But yeah, let me know. 60th minute, everyone, is that world-class tackle that you guys are all remembering. It's kind of Wilson about to pull the trigger, so to speak, and somehow, and this shows how quick Agard is, because Wilson is fairly rapid and Agard has got a lot of pace on him, and he nearly hurt himself. He put his whole body, whole leg in the way, and great timing, great challenge, because if you get those tackles wrong, it's more or less a penalty, isn't it? So you've got to be careful with that. So that again, yeah, 60th and 76th minute. I think 76th minute was that tackle, and then he cleared another cross after 60th minute. So that's my confusion. 60 minutes, a cross is going into Wilson's path to head it home. Agard gets in the way of it, and then after 76 minutes is that world-class tackle on Callum Wilson, really. So every game, Agard is growing and getting better, really. Let me just catch up with the comments once again, and we have Steve. Thank you for that, mate. Steve keeps an eye on all the fixtures, mate. Who's injured, mate? Let me know. Yeah, not sure about that, mate. It's a bit of a... Yeah, not sure about whether he's injured, mate. I think Moyes went ballistic, mate, and I think that's the end, mate. He's obviously hasn't seen any game time in a while, and he comes back and he's involved in the goal straight away again, you know. Yeah, I don't think anyone's... Obviously... Especially with us, we're so patient with everything that goes on our club, isn't it? So who's going to take him, mate? Who's going to take him? And I know I said a few things about Dawson, the right time to sell him due to age, but everyone in the chat would probably agree that you'd rather have Dawson than Kehrer, isn't it? Dawson, whatever you can say about him, lack of pace, the age, he always gives 100%. Captain material, certainly leader, I've been told, in the dressing room. And as proved today, got a goal in him. So maybe, I would rather have kept Dawson and got rid of Kehrer, even though there's, 10 years between the two. It's just one of those things, isn't it? That's what a lot of people are saying, that Chelsea are there. Because Chelsea haven't really got a focal point up front. They haven't got striker, but they have got a lot of things outside there, mate. They're wingers. Fernandes, whoa, very, very impressed with him, mate. Again, can't take any fixtures lightly. Certainly Chelsea, Spurs, as all of you guys in the chat know, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very, very hard. And we can't... We've got to keep this up. The amount of effort today, we've got to keep it up. And you can tell in this Premiership it's unforgiving. As soon as you drop that effort 1 or 2%, the other team's going to get in there. But we need to work on our finishing. People like Bowen, Benrahma, especially Fornals, as we know. Antonio... I think they were saying on Sky he hasn't scored in 10 league games. That's poor. That's more reason why Danny Ings has come in. Because we do create. And I reckon Danny Ings hopefully will show the rest of them how to finish. Danny can take penalties. And again, I'll stick my head out. I know he's known as an injury prone, but when you look at his record last 5 years, he has not been injured a lot. He's played most of the games. So I'm hoping that little knock he had, he's kind of to the back of his mind now, and he can carry on, build his fitness, and play up front from the start with 2 up front. Let me know in the chat if anyone knows how far Scamacca is from coming back, because I really can't wait to see Danny Ings and Scamacca up front together, really. I think that could be a game changer as well. I don't think the players have got that kind of class, George, but let me know in the chat. I mean, do you think from now on that kind of thing should get a straight red card? I mean, I think it should. Yeah, you kept saying, Palace, didn't you, mate, that they got hard fixtures coming up and they've lost, what's his name? What's that player? He's got injured, didn't he, up front? Oh, God, I forgot his name. But a really important player for them. He's kind of injured at the moment. Yeah, you and your jelly deals, and then we got to do that jelly deals challenge, mate. Let's have a look. Man of the match for me, probably Agard. For me. In terms of the table, like I mentioned, Newcastle are kind of 4th. Our fixtures, let's have a look at our fixtures, see who we got coming up. I'm just going to share my screen if I can. And then you can have a look at the fixtures. Won't be a minute. Let's have a look. Zaha, that's it, mate. Zaha is injured, isn't it? You told me. So just going to share my screen. There we go. It's just going to happen now. So if you can look at the fixtures, we are home to Chelsea, 11th of February, which is a lunchtime kickoff. We are away to Tottenham Hotspur. A week later, 4:30, home to Nottingham Forest at 3 o'clock. Obviously, straight away you can tell, home to Nottingham Forest. They did dip into the market again, didn't they? I think Shelvey signed for them. Didn't Randolph go? No, Randolph's gone to Bournemouth, isn't he? So they have brought one or two players in. I think Wood from Newcastle's ended up there. We've got to look at 3 points, and you've got the Manchester United FA Cup tie in the evening, which is televised. And then you got Brighton away, Villa at home, Man City away. But like I said, plenty of games to kind of go. Look at that home to Leeds, second from the end. That could be quite tough and quite important, isn't it, everyone? So yeah, lots of games to go still. I do believe we should have bought at least 2-3 more bodies on loan, especially in this market, just to make sure we're okay, because it's so important. But we didn't. I hope that doesn't come back to bite us in the backside, or in the bum, as we say, really. Mr. Carter. It was, wasn't it? You don't see that too often. A really well-timed tackle. And good to see that he's comfortable on the ball and passing it out, but he's a out-and-out defender as well. Skamaka, well, that's really good to hear, mate, because I didn't really understand why he's not featured for a while. And hopefully, yeah, get him back. Ings gets more and more fit. Antonio stays fit, because I think Antonio is still useful behind the striker, not as a striker, but certainly one of the two behind. That could be interesting. And it'd be interesting for me how Danny Ings how David Moyes is going to use him. Don't be surprised if he just carries on using him as a substitute, So it'll be interesting, mate, how that all goes. I think Emerson's ticking along okay, isn't he? Obviously, the first goal, the ball went through his legs, didn't it? The one that was kind of chalked off, I think, so he got away with it. So, yeah, him and Kehrer are always going to keep an eye on them, isn't it? But I think Emerson, we can all agree, Emerson is the better out of the two over Kehrer, but he's not ideal. Certainly good on the bench. I wouldn't play Emerson in every single game. I don't think you can rely on him for that. But in the situation we're in now, in terms of what we've got in our squad, and Creswell being the other option, I think he's got to play, mate. He's got to play. I know. It's really odd, isn't it, Apache? Hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing good. You're absolutely right. It's kind of... Well, Steve came on. Steve liked that tackle. It is, isn't it? Listen, football is about goals. Goals win you points. Can't just sit back all the time, mate. Can't sit back. Absolutely right, mate. Absolutely right. Let me just go to the back. Let's have a look. Stevie. Won't be a minute. Hang on, mate. Let me just see if someone's coming along. But you let me know who your man of the match was in the chat and that kind of thing. But I think it's got to be Agard, isn't it? And let me know how you think Rice played. I know Rice isn't quite shining, but he's got such high standards, hasn't he? He's been so good for us. So let me know what you think about that. I've just got to check something quickly. Can't even see it now. I don't know where it's gone. Won't be a minute, and I just got to... Jelly Deals it is, my man. Jelly Deals. So let me know anything else you want to talk about. We're probably going to be back hopefully tomorrow with a more detailed show, and after listening to David Moyes' comments, I will give you some feedback on that. So what I'm going to say is take it easy, and we will catch up tomorrow. Thanks for everyone who's joined in. It's been a good show, good point. Long may that carry on. Long may the unbeaten run carry on. And let's go into the two really big London derbies. Get some points on the board and all the best, really. So take care. Come on, you Irons. Brilliant point. Let's carry on. Let's get out of trouble and put the season to bed, really. So take care, everyone. Thanks for joining in.